Okay, here's the next part of my new review, where you're only going to convert them to standard form and identify the conic section. You don't have to graph or do anything like that unless you just want to try to show off. So this one, you could go to standard form first and then identify afterwards if you want. But this one, I can tell from the beginning this is a parabola because there's only one squared term. So since this problem has one squared term, I don't know why I put a hyphen there. There's only an x squared. Therefore, this one I know is a parabola. Okay, so now that I've identified that it's a parabola, I want to try to get it into standard form. Since the x is squared, I know that the standard form is going to be x minus h squared equals 4p y minus k. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to keep my x's on the left side of the equation, and I'm going to move all my y, everything else over. So I'm going to add 8y and subtract 28 to both sides. And that will give me x squared plus 4x. And I'm going to leave a little bit of room here because I'll have to complete the square, equals 8y minus 28. And now, over here, I need to complete the square with the x's. Half of 4 is 2. And 2 squared is 4. If I add 4 to the left side, I have to add 4 to the right side. And now I will complete the square on the left side. That'll factor to x plus 2 squared equals, over here, negative 28 and 4 is negative 24. And then the last thing I need to do is factor out the 8 on the right side. So x plus 2 squared equals 8. And that'll leave me with y minus 3. And that's where I want you to stop here. You do not have to find the vertex or any of that other stuff. I simply want you to get it into standard form. So there's getting a parabola into standard form. The next one, let's see what this is. I do see 2 squared terms, so that rules out a parabola. We are adding the 2 squared terms. So this one's going to end up being an ellipse, E-L-I-P-S-E. And an ellipse is x minus h squared over something squared plus y minus k squared over something else squared equals 1. That's where we're going to try to go. So what I will do is group my x's, and I will group my y's. And then the number by itself, this 4, I will subtract over. Okay, so that's going to give me, let's see, 9x squared minus 2. Oh, gee, something's not right here. Hang on just a second. There we go, fixed it. That should be minus 18x, not minus 2x. So, let's see, so I group my y's, or my x's, so I have 9x squared minus 18x. And then my y's, I have a plus y squared minus a 4y, and I moved that 4 over, so equals negative 4. Then I will group my x's, and I'll group my y's, and factor out the leading coefficient. I have a 9 in front of the x squared, so I'm going to factor out a 9, so x squared minus 2x, close parentheses. There's nothing to pull out of the y's, so I have y squared minus 4y, close parentheses, equals negative 4. Then we have to complete the squares. Half of negative 2 is negative 1. Square that, you get plus 2. Now I added 2 right there, but remember we have to multiply it by that 9, and I actually did a plus 18. So I need to add 18 to this side of the equation. Then right here, half of negative 4 is negative 2. Square that, you get positive 4. And so then I will add 4 to this side of the equation. And, hang on, got to take care of the kids here. Okay, sorry. My daughter was playing with a permanent marker. I had to get that out of her hands. Okay, so I completed the square on... Holy cow, what did I just do? 1 squared is 2? How many of y'all are screaming that 1 squared is not 2? Let's fix that. Okay, so 1 squared is actually plus 1. 9 times 1 is 9, which means I will add 9 right here. Wow, that was bad. Okay, there, now I think it's right. At this point, we will factor the left side. That's going to factor to x minus 1 squared. Okay, Eva, what do you want, sweetheart? Oh, no, don't play with the mouse. You're going to mess me up. Don't do that. Let's see. Then this factors to y minus 2 squared equals Negative 4 plus 9 plus 4 is 9. And then our final step, what are y'all doing over here? Eva? Oh, jeez. Hang on. Hang on. Ah! Okay. Let's see. So we had factored both sides. I've combined my like terms right there. And now we will divide both sides by 9. I'm sorry if I seem very distracted right now, but Bambi is in the middle of a raging fire, and this is incredibly stressful for me, and I just hope that he can make it out. Um, anyway, okay, so I divide by 9. Here my 9's cancel, and I'm left with x minus 1 squared divided by 1 plus y minus 2 squared divided by 2 equals 1. And there's our final answer. Uh, you don't have to put over 1 right here if you don't want to, but if it makes you feel better, I kind of like the way it looks, and I have no idea why that 9 turned into a 2. Let's fix that. That's y minus 2 squared over 9. And there we go. So there's the answer to that one. We're just putting it in standard form and stopping. And I think there's only one more. Yeah, there's one more where we have to put it in standard form. So let's see. This one, I see 2 squared terms again, and 2 squared terms rules out parabola. Since I'm subtracting x and y, those squared terms, x squared minus y squared, that means this is a hyperbola. Come on, Molly, go watch Bambi, please. Don't play with the mouse. Now see what you made me do? Okay. So we have a hyperbola, and I know the standard form for a hyperbola, since x is first, I know this one's going to be x minus h squared over a squared minus, don't do do that, Molly, y minus k squared. Do you want some more food, Molly? Over 1? Yeah? Was that a yes? Do you want to eat? Oh, you want more. Okay, you're saying more. Hang on. Okay. So I know it's a hyperbola, and I know my x is first. Just like with my ellipse, I'm going to start by grouping my like terms. Now, there are no other x terms, so it's just going to be 9x squared by itself. But we do have a negative 16y squared and a negative 32y. So those will be grouped together, negative 16y squared minus the 32y. And I will move the 16 over. Uh-oh, is this right? Hang on just a second. I need to double check and make sure this is right. Okay, yeah, there was a mistake in that. I'm obviously distracted with the kids. That 16 wasn't supposed to be there. So here's what the problem should be. 9x squared minus 16y squared minus 32y. And then we will group it, as I said, and we'll just have it equal to 160. The 160 is already over there by itself. Now we have to complete the square. There is nothing with the x term, so that's just going to come down by itself. But what you have to be careful with here is that it is a negative 16y squared, and you actually need to group that negative with this 16y squared. So I will factor out a negative 16, which leaves me a positive y squared plus a 2y, leaves some room to complete the square, equals 160. And you can check this real quick. Negative 16 times y squared is negative 16y squared. Negative 16 times 2 is a negative 32. So I did pull that 16 out correctly. All right, so I know that I pulled that out correctly. Now I'm going to complete the square. There's nothing to do with the x's, so we'll leave that alone. But half of 2 is 1. Let's see if I can do this right this time. 1 squared is 1. But then we will multiply the negative 16 times 1, and I actually need to subtract 16 from the other side of the equation. And I will factor, so we have 9x squared minus 16 times, that factors to y plus 1 squared, and 160 minus 16 is 144. And then our final step is going to be divide everything on both sides by 144. So I'm going to divide this thing by 144. And I will divide this by 144, and then we will cancel and reduce. 9 goes into 144 16 times, 16 goes into 144 9 times, and then this all reduces to just 1. So our standard form is going to be x squared over 16 minus y plus 1 squared all over 9 is equal to 1. And there's our standard form here. So that's the second type question you're going to see on the review. Start with some graphing, then we'll put things in standard form, and then the last section is going to be finding the equation of a conic section with a certain description.